around the world. Welcome to Napoli Talk, guys. I am in Naples, so you'll see that it's a little bit of a different scene here. I hope you guys are able to hear me. If not, let me know in the chat because I'm using a different microphone. But, guys, Napoli with a brilliant second half to turn around the game. It's exactly the sort of reaction that I hoped Napoli would give in a tough game. Udinese made it difficult for us physically, but ultimately, guys, the desire to go and get the 3 points was there. I was a little bit let down in the first half, to be honest, by Napoli. Not just because of the goal that we conceded, which I think is really silly from Lobotka, but we were giving away too many balls. I don't think we then had the right reaction. But ultimately, I don't think we were playing bad either, right? I think that, a lot of people I was seeing on Twitter were complaining that, Conte's way, we don't play good football. Look, I didn't see bad football in the sense that the ideas that we tried to bring were actually not that bad because we reached with Neres the touchline very, very often. It's just that then we didn't have that nice final pass in the end to score the goal. And it's not Conte's fault if in the first half the players were messing up too many passes in the midfield. I don't think that's down to the manager. I think that's just sometimes the approach that the players have, the impact that they have with the game. But then in the second half, that changed. That changed completely. I think we were much better with our passes. And if you take a look at two of the goals that we scored, those were exactly the type of goals that you need good passing for. It's two long balls cutting the defense in half, and that's exactly how Napoli managed to score the goals. Now, guys, it's also my birthday, which is why I'm not, here with like screenshots and going through the analysis of the game with all this, because basically in a few minutes I'm gonna have to go and celebrate with my family with some food and everything like that. So this is gonna be a bit of a shorter live, but let me see in the comments what you guys are saying. So Blue Line says Forza Napoli, 3 goals in the second half with good football. That's very great. Exactly. Look, I think in the second half, what really helped was McTominay sitting a little bit deeper. I think in the first half, it was just very difficult for Napoli to build centrally because we had McTominay all the way at the top next to Lukaku, and then we had Oliveira trying to fill in as that sort of second or third midfielder, as a holding midfielder, and then Oliveira is not really the type of guy that can play you these incredible passes down the middle. But in the second half, we dropped McTominay deeper, and then you saw how he managed to find Lukaku with that piercing ball down the middle. And look, it was something that clearly worked, and we tried to repeat over and over again, and we got the third goal as well. Credit to Neres for the second goal. Was able to basically create it by himself, right? It's exactly the type of goal that we expect to see from Neres. He's got incredible quality on the ball, and what I really found funny is when there was that ball bouncing in the middle of the box, he basically tells Anguissa to not touch it, to leave it to him, only for him to scuff the shot completely. But then we got lucky with the Udinese player scoring an own goal. And by the way, guys, thanks to everybody that says happy birthday. So yeah, it's awesome to actually get a Napoli win on my birthday, and I really wanted to go live and have a chat with you guys on my birthday, because I mean, you guys are a big part of my life, I guess. I mean, every weekend we're together, so it's really cool. But yeah, I was gonna say that Neres shot, right? Look, it's really funny to me because let's compare that shot with the one that Anguissa had in the first half. Anguissa in the first half, when there was that corner and he took it on the volley with his left foot, he struck that so cleanly. And sometimes when you strike the ball that cleanly, it becomes actually predictable, right? And goalkeepers tend to save those, or defenders tend to save those. But instead, if in the box, especially when it's one of those things where the ball's bouncing around and so defenders are moving and everybody's moving, there's a lot of chaos. If you actually strike it dirty, if you don't hit it cleanly, you might have a better chance of scoring because it's likely to take a deflection and go in. It's likely to throw people a little bit off guard. And I think that was the key with Neres' goal. Look, it's not like he did that on purpose, but sometimes, I think players should remember that actually hitting it like that might give you a better chance of success than hitting it cleanly and making things predictable. But credit to Neres, man. I mean, he took that initiative. It's the sort of thing that in a game where it's 1-1, 0-0, when it's a tight game like this, you need someone to win individual battles, to dribble past players, because ultimately, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a chess game tactically. You need someone that breaks that equilibrium and catches people off guard, and that's something that Neres can do. And it's great that today he had the occasion and he made it count. Another player that I think has been playing really well this season, much more than maybe the last, is Anguissa. Well, not maybe, definitely more than the last, is Anguissa, guys. Anguissa was great today. He's super involved, and I think I was actually a bit harsh with him in past games. I think I let the result sort of sway my overall ratings a little bit, maybe in a negative way. But Anguissa, even in the games that didn't go well, I think he was one of our best players. And yeah, you can see that he's in a really good piece of form right now, and that's great. Let me see some of your comments, guys. So, first of all, again, sorry, my fingers in front of the camera because I'm trying to scroll on my phone. So all the happy birthday messages, thank you very much. Eric says, what happened with Conte and the subs? Look, Conte, I think, just doesn't really think that we've got a squad that he can trust. He doesn't see the other guys on the team as people that are reliable. I was surprised because usually against a team like Udinese, who's very physical, who makes you run, teams tend to make subs a bit earlier to keep the players fresh, and that's actually something that maybe I thought journalists might ask Conte before the game, like, what's your view on making subs earlier versus Udinese, because you want to keep the team fresh, but no one asked that. In fact, let me take you back to before the game, to yesterday, when Conte had the press conference, and it was the shortest press conference I've ever heard because it lasted about 6 minutes. And Conte was very direct and short with his answers. And, I kind of get it because they keep asking him the same stupid questions about, how will you approach Udinese, or how, I don't know, it feels like you could copy and paste those questions and then just change the name of whoever we're playing against. Or they say oh, it's been 5 months since you're here. What do you think of the situation? And then when it was 4 months, it was exactly the same question. And when he will be at the 6 months, it will be exactly the same question. What do you think after 6 months here? And there's never an insightful question about the type of opposition that you might go and play against. And there's not, or they say why don't you go back to X formation or Y formation? And look, Conte's never gonna answer that. He's never gonna give that away. But I wish they were I wish they would give him questions more related to the opposition that you might play against, and not just generic like, why don't you play a 3-5-2 or XY formation. I wish they gave him questions like, I've studied Udinese. They're a team that has, for example, Luca, that's 2 meters tall. How do you plan to deal with such a striker? You know, if they give him more thought out questions where the journalists prove that they've seen the opposition play, maybe Conte might be a bit more willing to answer these questions, and he might respect the journalists a bit more. But I just feel like they're being super lazy, and so I don't blame Conte for not wanting to speak to them and only having these 5-minute conversations with them. But anyways, let's go back to the goal. The game, sorry. Lex says, hope at some point Conte realizes that despite Politano's defensive balance, the offense collapses when he's in possession. Neres pairing with Kvara would be nice to see going forward. Yeah, so look, all 3 goals, what they have in common is that Politano was not involved. They were very direct goals. The 2 of them that were from direct passes, you know, just straight from the midfield down to the strikers. And the one of Neres was him, you know, just pointing towards the goal with his dribbles. Whereas every time we pass the ball to Politano, he tends to slow the game down a little bit. Why? Because he's trying to dribble past players, but from a bit of a standing still position, right? He likes to slow the game down, shimmy a little bit, left and right, and then choose a direction, right? But by doing that, by stopping the ball, he slows the game down a lot, right? And he's always looking for these overlapping runs. It's very predictable. And so, yeah, the goals clearly today ended up coming from guys that are much more direct, much more unpredictable, you know, and basically speeding up the play. And that's how we should play. We should use the fact that we can maybe go a bit faster than the opposition. But with Politano, you know, things get slowed down. And look, I'm not a hater of Politano. Like, I'm not, like, on the spectrum of Napoli fans, there's people that really hate Politano. I'm not like that. I think that he's useful in some games. In some games, you do need a bit more defensive balance. But against Udinese, who don't provide much offensive threat, I want to see more attacking minded wingers, or wingers that are, you know, a bit more dynamic up top. So, for example, if Kvara was not injured, I would have loved to see Neres and Kvara. Or today that Kvara is injured, I would have loved to see Ngonge and Neres. I think Politano has a place in the team in the bigger games when it's things like against Inter and all that. Why? Because, you know, Inter brings someone like Bastoni, Di Marco, Dumfries, Darmian. These are wingers that, you know, go all the way up and down, and so you might want yourself a winger that can defend against those kind of situations. But when you're playing against a team like Cagliari, or Udinese, or, you know, these type of teams, then I think you should try to crush them offensively and really use your firepower. And yeah, if, you know, the other team attacks, you trust that Buongiorno, Rachmani, Oliveira, and De Lorenzo can deal with it, because we're not talking about incredible strikers or wingers. We're talking about pretty average wingers, right? So yeah, I fully agree that Politano today, you know, was not useful, was not needed, and he gets exposed in these type of games, and he's a real liability for us in these type of games. Whereas I think he does have a place in the team in other types of games. Let me get to Vincenzo Bertillo's comment. Says, Conte got an incredible response for the second half. We finally fed Lukaku a good pass and unleashed Neres. Once Kvara's back, he shifts on the right. He's proven he can track back when needed. That's true. He had an incredibly good, solid game, Neres, not just from an offensive point of view, but he was there tracking back. I mean, there was that one thing in the second half that he did, which was really, really good. when he basically followed the Udinese winger after a corner, basically stopped the counter attack. I think he's proving to Conte that he can be just as reliable as Politano defensively, but he also gives you something more offensively. And look, Lukaku, he gets a lot of criticism that he's not so present in games. And I want to remind people not to criticize Lukaku himself for that, but it's more that the players have to find Lukaku, or Conte has to put the team in a position to find Lukaku, because if you can find Lukaku, this guy doesn't miss very much. He misses, of course, every striker misses, but one-on-one with the goalkeeper, guys, he's maybe one of the best out there. This season, I don't recall big misses from Lukaku. You know, I think he's proven to be extremely cynical up top. And yeah, we just need to find him. We just need to put him in a condition where he can use his physical strength, you know, play the ball to his feet like we did for the goal. I mean, it was kind of a through ball, but not, you know, overly extended. It was basically to his feet. Let him wrestle off some defenders and, you know, let him do his thing. And he did a great goal because, guys, he opened up his body, made it seem like he was going to go in the far post, and then he closed the shot. So, very good. And it seemed like a bit of a scruffy shot, but I think that was done on purpose to bounce it off the ground so that in case the goalkeeper went the right way, it might go above. So it basically, the way he did this was, I'm going to open up my body, the goalkeeper's going to dive that way, but I'm going to shoot the other way. But what happens is that sometimes the goalkeeper sticks out a leg, right? So what you want to do is actually get it a little bit over the potential leg of the goalkeeper. And one of the ways that you can do that is actually like bouncing the ball onto the ground, and then making it bounce over. And that's what he did, right? So I think that it was totally intentional. And then Anguissa's goal, guys, is incredible because it shows just how informed he is. You know, it's not at the start of the game. It's a midfielder who's been running all game, you know, getting to the end of that pass, putting the ball down with his chest, having the lucidity to take on that goal, to take on that shot with his weaker foot. Look, incredible goal by Anguissa, incredible. Yeah, I'm very happy for him that he's found his form. Guys, thanks again for all the birthday wishes. Wish we could see some energy in Kvara, says Danny. I really do hope so that happens. Conte seems like the student who graduates college with the minimum GPA. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I mean, I don't see it, but maybe you have to explain that to me a little bit better. Jay Wong says, "What's up, Dom? Hello from Hong Kong." Yeah, it's cool to have people that connect from parts of the world where maybe normally it would be too late for them after a late kickoff to connect. But because Napoli played a little bit earlier today, maybe we can get some guys from Asia as well in the live with us. Mercaino says, "Was so funny Zambo tried to play quick touches off of Politano like 3 times and Poli could never link up." Yeah, Politano had a bit of a stinker. He is my flop of the match, guys, because when your team scores 3 goals and you're a striker and you're not involved in any of them in any way, yeah, it doesn't do you much good. And I think, yeah, this game has exposed Politano a little bit. Not that he's useless, as I said, in games where the other team has very strong fullbacks going forward, you might want to play Politano, but just for the next few games where we don't have that kind of opposition, I would love to see maybe Ngonje get more minutes above him. Guys, thanks a lot for the birthday wishes. Lorenz Moore says Neres has to start at right wing once Kvara is tracking back and winning the ball has improved a lot. and we saw that as well against Lazio in the Coppa Italia, how he won the ball back for the goal that we ended up scoring, even though we lost 3-1. He won the ball, dribbled past a few players. You know, he's got a great sense of the goal. So yeah, I'm very happy with Neres. I hope he finds the consistency that he had at Ajax, and I hope Conte sees this. You know, because I think Conte is a bit stubborn, but surely he sees what we all see as well. So yeah, maybe this Kvara injury could be a slight blessing in disguise. Hear me out, because it is the opportunity to give Neres some playing time to prove that he can be trusted 90 minutes, to prove that he can defend, to prove that, you know, he is a player that this team cannot play without. And then when Kvara comes back in only a few weeks, then maybe Neres can take Politano's place. So maybe this is exactly what we needed. And you might say, well, if we wanted to test this, why not just get Politano injured instead? But I think it's good to have both Politano and Neres on the field at the same time, because then you can compare the two of them against the same opposition. So you can say, look, they were both playing this match against Udinese. Clearly Neres was the better player. Clearly he was the most impactful, right? So you can do that. You can make the case that Neres is better than Politano because they played against the same team. So, you know, maybe we just needed Kvara to sit on the sidelines a little bit to, you know, we needed to lose that battle to win the war. And the war is on Politano, I guess. I hope you guys are following that. Not that I want Kvara to be injured. I just want us to, in the long term, in the mid-term, have both Kvara and Neres playing most games. Guys, I'm glad you like the thumbnail. Jay Wong says that thumbnail is fire. So yeah, look, with Grok AI coming out and allowing us to do all sorts of fun thumbnails and stuff like that. This isn't AI, but with Grok AI coming out and allowing us to do a lot of fun thumbnails, I might change some style of thumbnails a little bit. I hope you guys will like that. Let's see. How long is Kvara's injured? I think a few weeks, so he'll probably come back after Christmas. Tamiya says, I also think Kvara probably needs some rest. Who knows how long he was carrying that injury. True. And maybe some rest will be good for him as well, you know. Let his body recover, eat a bit of Pandoro and Panettone now that he's not playing some professional games. And guys, very good that we got these 3 points. We can put Lazio behind us. One last thing on Lazio before we close that chapter for good is to say that, look, maybe losing against them is not the end of the world, because Lazio are clearly in the form of their life right now, top of the Europa League. Look, we lost against a very good team. We didn't lose against a bad team. And Lazio, I think, are going to take points off other teams as well. Maybe potentially tomorrow against Inter. And look, for us, that game, whatever happens is good, right? Because it takes points off two teams that are very close to us in the league. Let's see what happens. I'm pretty confident that, we can put that game now behind us, and this game's going to give us the boost that we need to finish off the year well. Against Genoa, against Venezia, these are games where I think 6 points are a must, and this game will have given us the right fuel for that, hopefully. Anyways, guys, it's nearly 25 minutes that I'm live. My family's waiting to do some birthday celebrations, so I'm going to end it here. maybe I make some shorts during the week to touch on some points that I didn't get to touch upon in the live. Maybe I open them up to everyone. Maybe some will be members only. But let's say that the most important things have been said. So guys, I hope you have a good rest of the weekend, and thanks again for all the birthday wishes, and as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.